although the investigation established that the Russian government perceived it would benefit from a Trump presidency and the work to secure that outcome, and that the campaign expected it would benefit electorally from information stolen and released through Russian efforts, the investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities. Reminder, earlier in this, Mueller specifically laid out, saying that the investigation did not establish something is not the same as saying that the investigation established that something did not occur. He is not saying, in this paragraph, they are not saying that there was not conspiracy. They are saying that they did not confirm conspiracy. They found no evidence to the contrary that they are referencing here.
Yeah, Alan,
Ursha, go ahead.
I want to jump in here. Yeah, I think what you're calling out and calling attention to right now is really important, because it seems like there was a really high legal bar for Mueller to find evidence of a coordination. And basically what Mueller is saying is, to find evidence of coordination, legal definition of coordination between the Trump campaign and Russian actors, both Russia and the Trump campaign would have had to agree to act. And so, I think we can probably debate whether there was agreement or not. I think some people, myself included, would say Donald Trump Jr. taking that meeting with Russian lawyers with the promise of dirt on Hillary Clinton and saying, if it's what you say, I love it, amounts to an agreement. However, there was no action that came out of that meeting, right? They didn't agree or sign a paper together that say, yes, we are both going to hack emails together. So it seems the fact that they didn't go quite that far to the written agreement means that that's why Mueller is saying there was no coordination. However, that's not the same as saying no collusion or no evidence of attempted coordination. It really seems, to reference something you were saying earlier, there were actually multiple attempts at coordination and collusion, but because one part of the deal fell through, or the Russians didn't come up with the dirt that they promised, or they were savvy about who was speaking to WikiLeaks, that basically keeps them from having broken any laws. Again, doesn't mean what they did wasn't highly unethical, highly troubling, and worthy of an impeachable offense, but it means, it didn't meet some of the legal definitions that are in this report.
Yeah, and we should just be clear, I think, about some of the vocabulary here, because I think that can get complicated and confusing. So as the report states, collusion is not a legal term that applies in this context. Collusion is a term that the media has been using and actually usually applies in antitrust context. It wouldn't work here. Conspiracy is the legal term of conspiring with other actors to commit a crime. So that's the legal standard that Varsha's referring to with regards to knowing and having an intent to commit a crime in conspiracy with others. Coordination was also a term when the Barr letter first came out. It was used, and I didn't know what it meant. I didn't recognize it because it's not actually a legal term in the context of a statute. But they were kind of looking at a slightly lesser bar to see that was there kind of cooperation that was happening for counterintelligence purposes, for other things that maybe didn't rise to the level of a crime, but was still problematic behavior. But as Varsha's saying, they were still looking at it really with this intent prong. And she's absolutely right. There was definitely an effort. So it seemed like when they could prove the intent, they couldn't prove the action. So there was an intent. If it's what you say, I love it, but the action didn't come out of it. And then where there were actions, Roger Stone talking to WikiLeaks, there wasn't necessarily that intent. So it seems like they kind of kept missing each other on these two prongs that you both need together in order to prove conspiracy.